Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. The Iraqi Ministry of Finance has officially declared that all paper currency transactions will cease and that only electronic payment methods will be accepted moving forward. This monumental shift away from cash-based exchanges represents not only a modernization of Iraq's financial architecture, but also a definitive step toward full digital integration with the global financial system. According to sources close to this development, including financial commentator Markz, this transition is scheduled to occur before July 1st, a deadline that has sparked considerable interest and speculation, especially among investors and observers closely watching Iraq's monetary reforms. This announcement is not simply about replacing paper with plastic or apps. It is a strategic, structural transformation aimed at achieving multiple deep-rooted goals: combating corruption, improving transparency, modernizing state institutions, empowering the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, increasing the velocity of money circulation, enabling better tax collection, and enhancing trust in the national financial system. For years, Iraq has grappled with a shadow economy dominated by cash, used for everything from civil servant salaries and pensions to black market dealings and insurgent financing. Paper currency allowed for opacity, leakage, and fraud. This move is designed to permanently remove that vulnerability from the national economy. This policy shift is in line with recommendations made by both the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the U.S. Treasury Department. Both institutions have been advising Iraq for years to digitalize its payment infrastructure in order to limit capital flight, improve the monitoring of financial flows, and make the central bank's monetary policy tools more effective. The digitization of the payment system is the cornerstone of broader structural reforms, including those outlined in Iraq's white paper on economic reform, particularly the segment that calls for modernizing the financial sector and reducing dependence on hydrocarbons by enhancing non-oil revenue collection. This digital transition involves the rollout of point-of-sale, POS, terminals, the expansion of mobile payment applications, integration of e-government services, and the mandating of e-payment methods for public sector salaries, government contracts, and business taxes. Key state institutions, including the Rafadain and Rashid banks, are now upgrading their platforms and collaborating with fintech providers to ensure nationwide coverage. Iraqi citizens are being issued debit cards linked to government-authorized digital wallets. In remote areas, the government has begun deploying mobile payment agents and banking kiosks to ensure no citizen is left behind. Education campaigns are underway to familiarize the public with safe and secure use of these new tools. The CBI launched the Switch to Digital initiative in early 2023, which was followed by aggressive policy directives, regulatory changes, licensing of new payment providers, and aggressive partnerships with private sector players. These reforms were further supported by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, which saw digital inclusion as essential to Iraq's post-conflict economic recovery. Additionally, global giants such as Visa and MasterCard have increased their engagement in Iraq, seeing this as an untapped frontier market for electronic payments. Mark's statement that this shift will happen before July 1st is extremely significant. If true, it would mean that Iraq is trying to meet a critical deadline, possibly linked to other important events or international benchmarks. July 1st could mark the beginning of a new fiscal quarter, or it might correspond to IMF evaluation windows, World Bank monitoring frameworks, or even internal audit cycles. There are also whispers in the financial community that this transition might be a precondition for the next phase of the Iraqi dinar's journey, whether that means internationalization. Many in the dinar investment community interpret these steps as precursors to a long-anticipated currency revaluation. While the Iraqi government has not confirmed any such plans, it is reasonable to assume that a fully digital economy is a prerequisite for any significant monetary reform. Without digitization, any revaluation or redenomination would simply fuel a black market surge, encourage hoarding, and make monetary policy ineffective. But with a tightly controlled, digitally monitored system, any changes to the exchange rate could be better managed, rolled out securely, and enforced through proper oversight. This is also about national pride and sovereignty. Iraq wants to prove to the world that it is no longer a war-torn, fragile economy. It wants to be seen as a resilient, tech-forward, reformist nation that is open for business, open for investment, and prepared for global integration. Ending the use of paper currency is not just about efficiency, it's about optics. It tells investors, creditors, and international partners that Iraq is cleaning up its act, establishing modern controls, and building a business-friendly environment rooted in transparency. The implications will ripple through every aspect of Iraqi society. For the citizen, it means a new relationship with money, one mediated through banks, apps, and secure systems. For the business community, it means stronger enforcement of tax codes, less evasion, and a shift toward formalization. For the government, it means a stronger hand in steering economic policy, rooting out corruption, and building trust in state institutions. And for the global financial community, it means a new Iraq, one that is no longer tethered to the inefficiencies and vulnerabilities of a paper-based economy, but instead stands tall as a 21st-century digital nation. This policy will not be without challenges. Infrastructure gaps still exist in rural and conflict-affected areas. There are questions about digital literacy, cybersecurity, and system resilience. Skepticism remains among segments of the population who distrust banks and prefer the tangible comfort of cash. But these are transitional pains, not permanent roadblocks. The fact that the Ministry of Finance is pushing this reform at this pace shows a high level of political will and institutional commitment. It also indicates that the back-end systems and partnerships, whether with telecom operators, fintech firms, or international development partners, are mature enough to support this transition. As the July 1st deadline approaches, all eyes are on Iraq. If the government can follow through on this announcement and enforce the shift from paper to digital currency across all transactions, public and private, it will mark a new era in the country's economic history. This will be remembered as the moment Iraq decisively turned a corner, embraced the digital revolution, and prepared its currency, its people, and its economy for the opportunities and challenges of the modern financial world. Thanks for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.